Hi, welcome to a video on the Cads RC Pile Cap Designer. It's one of the standalone programs in the Smart Designer suite. They're all easy to learn, they're very simple to use, straightforward interface, just filling in numbers. I'm sure most people now can deal with it. We have very little call for training. They're all independent licenses, as I said, so that there are 5 different solutions I'm going to show you in this suite, and each one can be bought separately. They're all cloud-based so that you can be flexible about where you use it. You can have one copy at home, one in the office, and because the licensing is through the internet, it makes it easier to choose whichever location you want to be in. They're all designed to BS 8110 or EC2, and they can link into Cads A3D Max analysis if you want to do design in batch, or whether you want to pass the loads and combinations through from analysis, which can save a lot of time in certain instances. And there's comprehensive detailing options in the design programs so that we get the detail right as much as possible in Cads RC, because there we can get the automatic detailing and scheduling. All these licenses are available as permanent licenses, or they can be rented. As I've said, PileCap's one of 5 programs we do. You can see the other ones there. There are videos on these too. And these are the PileCap features. 8110 EC2, choice of up to 2 to 9 different piles per PileCap, supporting either circular or rectangular columns, as it says there. There's a link to Cads A3D Max that does improve the efficiency. You bring all the loading information through that way. What the program does for a given loading is provide you with a range of different PileCaps that work, and you can see top right there, there's a little instance of a diagram showing you in descending order the efficiency of the PileCaps that we could use. So you can see 9.91 is 91% down to 0.29, 29%. The user just chooses whichever one is preferred. And once you've done that, you can link that into Cads RC for detailing and scheduling. As you can see bottom right, that's an image from the design program, but in Cads RC you'd get the detailing and the scheduling. Okay, so let's have a look at how this works. Okay, so we're here now in the PileCap Designer. Let's just take you through the options here and show you how the program works. That's where we set the design code up, design parameters, and then there's a wizard that will take us through step by step. Once we've put a PileCap in, you'll then be able to jump into each stage of the input here rather than going through it in order. The design parameters, they vary slightly from Eurocode to British code, obviously, but it's really requesting a default values for strength of concrete, reinforcement types and size of bars you want to design to. You can see the range there, preferred centers. There's even an option there for detailing. Do you want to use a 41 rather than 21 if the PileCap depth is actually controlled by the bend of the bar? There's other things in here for design. You've got the option here to get a punching shear check for every spacing of piles rather than those just if the factor is less than 3. And so on. So those are sort of the defaults for your program. You can save those away as a template. If you're starting a new job, you just click on the button there, put in your chosen description, might be a grid reference probably, and then we pop some loads in. It's very simple. Now these loads I've got, they would be manually put in if you're using it in what we call standalone mode. But if you've got our frame analysis program, Cads A3D Max, then obviously these would come from the link to that. These are the factored loads. There's an option here to rotate the column 90 degrees. So if you've got PileCaps at 90 degrees to each other, instead of putting them in twice, you just rotate this and run it. And then you've got another option here where it won't know itself, but you can tell it it's got other loads spanning onto the PileCap from ground beams and floor slabs, for instance. And these loads will be applied at the center of the pile group. So speaking of the pile itself, we've got the pile data. And these are the pile allowable working loads, unfactored loads, tension and compression. There's an option here for end bearing. We get asked in support about a lot. If this is ticked on, then if you put in a pile diameter, which means that the spacing is below 750, it will default to it. You can see it's changed that here. So that basically that command stops you having a pile spacing less than 750 if it's end bearing. Okay, then that's all the solutions done in that click. It's come back and it's actually given us the range of PileCap types that work. Yeah, so 66% for a triangular, 22% for 9. So you can see it's varying from top to bottom in utilization. For practical reasons, you may want to choose something square rather than triangular. It's up to you, but all the solutions are there. Tells you if it's in compression or tension. So if you do put loads in that that rotate the pile so that they're in tension, it will tell you that. Now we've got the dimensions, so we've got very simply the covers, top and bottom and sides, the overhang. So this is just how far does the concrete extend from the edge of the pile cap. You can see it just adjusts the diagram here. There's a choice of column details, just so the program knows whether to ask for starter bars or not, whether it's steel or concrete on top of this, and then you've got the size of column, kicker height, and pile cap size. Now the program will stop you doing something silly. Put something in too small, it won't let you enter it. And if you try and do something questionable, it actually says I'm going to go much bigger than that, otherwise we'll not get any solution. So here are all the rebar solutions based on the sizes of bar that are in the default parameters. And we've got from 10s up to 40s here, so we can change now to either suit the fact we want only 25s and we don't care how many. We've also got this problem here where the 12 is going to have an unusual bend. It can't really fit in there, so you can change the bar size for that, but it's entirely up to you. You can choose whichever option you would require. You've also got here the sidebar details, should the base be deep enough. And you can see here it's got starter bars and whether columns are, it's got corner bars whether it's square, and obviously a number of bars if it's circular, and then you've got link legs and details of your spacing. So that's, once you've chosen that, we hit the finish button. There's a diagram. Now this is in the design program, so this sketch will be in the calc, but you can also output it to DXF, which is nice, but it will link to Cads RC, which I'll show you in a minute, for scheduling and detailing. I've just switched now to similar triangular pile cap. This time it's British code that we're using. The loads are slightly different as well. You can see the input screens are very similar for British and Eurocode. Again, you've got the utilization ratios. Here, look, 98% for triangular and 73% if it's rectangular or square. Very similar to what you've seen. It's giving me a depth that'll work, and we can do the editing of the bars just like before. So there's a solution. Now I said to you it would work in tension, just for those who may be interested. We do get people asking. I was going to put something in that's slightly off piece normally, but anyway, gives you a view of what happens. You can see now it's saying it's in tension, and indeed it will go on in design. The weird thing is, the bars at the bottom are now in the top. Obviously it's bending in a different direction. So yeah, gives you a little idea that the program's pretty flexible for most circumstances. Just covering the output from the program. If we go up to the usual button and do print preview, you can see page setup, where you can put in your own logos, project description, details of job number and who checks and so on. It's all open, so you can do what you like in there, and it will be free format, flexible. You can export to Word, you can export to Excel and so on with compressed separated files, and we can preview and print directly. So there's a couple of pages in this particular instance. You can see the diagram that we've got from our chosen pile cap, the properties, pile data, column loads, additional loads, all the design checks, and you can see over here it's saying passes and pass and fail. Okay, so that's basically the program run through. I'm going to show you now how it links into Cads RC. I've opened Cads RC in AutoCAD. For those of you who are not familiar with the program, it's a general purpose detailing tool for the detailing and scheduling of any outlines. The users typically go to Cads RC and choose a bar, and then put those bars inside the outline, and that schedules. But the program has got some sort of efficiency tools here with links to our beam designer, slab designer, and in this case pile cap designer. Now these are macros in the general purpose program, but the detailer would still have to type in the information. The benefit we've got today is that we've put in a pile cap, we've designed it, we can even say how many we've got on our site, however many you want, whatever you choose, and therefore you detail one but the schedule has 12. And instead of going through the usual screens putting in dimensions and reinforcement as you would in Cads RC on its own, we can import the results of our design. And here's the one we did earlier, the triangular Eurocode pile, and we just hit draw. We don't have to do anything else. Go OK, and you can see the detail. Now it does it in plan, as you can see. I'll zoom in when it's finished. There's our plan view. That's doing the elevation, just like we saw in the actual calc. You see the sidebars have gone in there too, and there's the column, like so. So there's our fully detailed pile cap, column and side view there, look. And indeed the benefit of course is it's not just a diagram. If you go up to Cads RC and choose schedule, you get an automatic schedule, and this being the sort of view of the database, we can then get a very nice schedule sheet. We customize the schedule sheets to suit the clients, so you would have your own logo and fonts and everything. This is just basically a CAD sheet. Sure, we'd like you to have our logos all over your sheets, but I think you'd probably want your own. So those are the details that we've just produced. You can see all the tapering bars here, look. And the program will also give you a weight report as well. There's a little summary. Now the other thing to note about this, unlike some of the older traditional methods of detailing, these bars are not simply DXF files. If I digitize on this bar, it knows what it is. Indeed, I could edit in here now, then it will change the schedule. So it's not just a DXF file, it's live data. Indeed, if we add extra bars with general Cads RC, we've got somewhere else on the drawing to work, you could put in a size and so on, and then it will add that bar to the schedule. So a bit more to it than just DXF. It's actually part of an integral drawing, and it's one of the steps that you would do to fill up this sheet. Okay, that's the link to Cads RC from RC PileCap Designer. Okay, that's the end of run through the Cads RC PileCap Designer. Just a reminder, there are other videos available, other programs that we do for concrete design, all independent, as I said, with links to our frame analysis in the Smart Designer suite. Some new little programs we're developing in the Cads Hub interface. It's a new collection of affordable programs. Some of the calcs that really either come as very sort of simple spreadsheets, but we've tried to produce some quality programs for this work now. So TR34 ground bearing slabs, as you can see here, and punching shear designer, they are available separately too. And then if you're looking at something more sophisticated, again, we've got full 3D design in finite elements here, and indeed this program can do multi-story buildings, it can do water treatment tanks, circular structures and all sorts. Finite element based, it's capable of modeling anything and giving us required rebar with in most cases links into Cads RC as well. Indeed, we've also got a 2D solution for doing simple rafts, piled rafts, and standalone flat slabs, as it were, and then we can link those into our Revit based RC 3D program, which is new. Anyway, any questions about any of that or on today's subject, just give us a call here at Cads, send us an email. Delighted to get any emails, just even if it's technical and you want some questions, it's nice to be corresponding with you. Or go on our website and see some more of our details. I hope to talk to you again. Thank you very much for listening. Have a good rest of the day.